Welcome to TradersArmy.com, defending your right to build wealth and preserve capital for generations to come. Good morning, everybody, and welcome to today's edition of the Daily Market Commentary. I am your host, Chuck Fulkerson. Hope everybody had an absolutely amazing weekend and a great trading week as we were off the entire last week. Took a little bit of a family vacation. I went to the House of Mouse and the Wizarding World with my friends Harry Potter and Mickey Mouse. No, I took my family to Universal Studios and Disney World and had a great time. And so decided it was a good opportunity to take a vacation and not do anything, which I did not. But I'm back in the saddle, so let's go ahead and dive right in. For those of you new to the channel, do me a favor, click that little subscribe button down below and hit the notification bell so that you get the updates as they come available. So let's do what we do each and every day, looking at 10 to 12 futures markets, identifying potential breakout trades, and turning points. So last night we had a live trading room at TradersArmy.com, and so some of these lines and some of these trades are from last night, and I will review some of what we talked about in the last night's session. We did actually get into a live trade last night. It's worked out for a nice little profit so far. I wound up actually closing out of it just recently, but we entered into it last night, so we'll cover that one. And then there's two that are still hanging out there that we didn't enter last night, which I'll talk a little bit about today. So on the S&P, we had a potential for a breakout above this level here. Now, this was on Friday's high. If you wanted to get long above Friday's high, I thought there was a decent little opportunity for that. We have popped just above there. We're up 18.5 points in the pre-market today. So I'm going to remove this line now just in case we get a little bit of a pullback. Now, if we do get a bit of a pullback, where do I see this thing pulling back to? Well, there's a couple of different areas and opportunities in a pullback that this could be valid. This one down here, this one right in here, and then this gap area right through here. So the level that I'm probably most excited about on this S&P, I look at this little area right here as a potential reversal. But remember, this is off a 15-minute chart. So it's a slightly weaker opportunity. So I'm going to change this to a purple line. So it's a slightly weaker opportunity, but it is still one for us to look at and pay attention to if price indeed comes back down. Tempted to take this one right here off this parabolic straight up move, but I actually like the gap, a little bit of basing, and then the move higher. Now also remember, this is a Globex session level, so that also lowers the probability of success. The trade that we set up last night was the NASDAQ long, and so if you are still in that NASDAQ long from our trading room last night, you are up about 19 points, 20 points overall in that position, so it's been a nice little move. It did a quick move up of about of a couple of points, right as we entered the position, gave us a pullback in the overnight sessions, but it didn't pull back to below our entry. So even if you moved your stop up to break even to before you went to bed, then you're still doing quite well as it's continuing to rise. So if indeed you have missed that one, I wouldn't take the breakout now because you've already missed 20 points of it. I'd like to see a little bit of a base before the breakout. I think there's still, there's obviously we're setting brand new all-time highs again, so there's plenty of opportunity for it to continue to run higher. On the daily chart, we have a nice upward trend that we are, still sitting there with, and we got a nice little pullback off of the daily chart to, a pullback that's a healthy pullback. So looking at it even on a weekly chart, you can see that we've just kind of continued this same upward momentum. Now, once again, our momentum is slowing a bit on both the daily and the weekly chart in our upward moves. If I throw on a quick momentum indicator, you'll be able to see that momentum is slowing. Significantly slower momentum, lower high here, same high in price on our MACD indicator. Now, that slowing momentum doesn't mean it's going to be over. We had slowing momentum here as well, and price moved up from that point. So I still need to break through some strong demand levels before I would think that this upward move is over. Crude oil. So here's a crude oil level that we had looked at last evening and set up a potential breakout of what was, at the time, let me clear all these studies. Potential breakout of what was at the time a little bit of a bear pennant pattern. Bull pennant, right? We had the move up followed by this kind of triangle move, and we said, well, if we break above this 73.64, that could be a potential entry. Well, we didn't break above that 73.64, so now I have to remove these. We actually stayed below that 73.64, although I still think 73.64 could be a decent breakout long to the upside. We have not hit that thing as of yet, and so let's see if we come into that one later today. Gold, in our gold position, let me move all these studies. A level that was a potential short was this area right up in here on a 15-minute chart. It's a little bit easier to see. So it's this little bit of a sideways basing here before at pretty strong drop. And when we were looking at it last night, we'd said, well, there's two ways you can take the trade. You can take the breakdown, because we were basing last night right here. You can take the breakdown below the base or wait for the reversal for price to come back up. This area here where we're waiting for the reversal to price to come back up, still very valid. If you took the breakdown, you're still doing okay on that one as well. I like the reversal slightly better than the breakdown at that time, just simply because it was a slightly higher up on that supply-demand equation. And I would want to see that price can come back up to here for a stronger move down. When I look at this on the 4-hour chart, we're still kind of in this overall big picture chop, but we have established a little bit of a downward trend on the 4-hour chart where I've got lower swing highs and lower swing lows. So our next move, if you think about impulsive move, corrective move, impulsive move, corrective move, impulsive move, corrective move, our next move is an impulsive move. Impulsive moves typically will blow through levels on the same time period, which means this level here on the 4-hour will probably get blown through and price will continue to move down. All right, looking at our bonds and currency markets. So in our bond market, we had a level set up from last week where we did a nice little touch and go off of that level, and we've actually gotten a really nice move off of there. So I don't know if anybody was able to catch that little short there on the bond markets. So if you were, then you should have rewarded yourself handsomely by moving your stop down to probably at least this area above here as it's continuing its march lower. In the Aussie, the level we looked at in the Aussie yesterday was this area right up here, just near that pivot before that's that fairly strong move down. Other than that, there's no real super amazing areas for us to look at in the Aussie, and currencies in general are a little bit less opportunistic today than normal. In the euro, we've got a level up above. We're close to getting to that area. We've almost come to it. I'm going to actually change this to a dashed line style trade as we have a little bit of basing before a pretty nice move down. When price comes back into here, this could be a decent opportunity. The reason that I'm moving to the dashed line style is because we've come close to it, came back. We're coming close to it again. If we base in front of it again, it would scare me a little bit, so I'm going to do the dashed line style on that. Canadian dollar is a gap and go scenario right now. Is a gapped up off the open, and it's continuing to run. So for those of you that play those gap and go style, that one's kind of continuing its move. There's nothing to look at the moment until we get a decent pullback for a chance to get in, or I get a basing for a breakout opportunity. Great British Pound, Japanese Yen. So we still have this area up here in the pound for a potential reversal price coming back into this region. Now we got this was a trade from last week that I'd had set up before I went on vacation. Price hit the level and moved down. So I took the lines that existed there and switched it to a dashed line trade, but that level is still very valid. That was found, by the way, off this little bit of basing here and this little level right inside those two wicks. So it was actually a call it a stacking of levels of the supply and demand balance equation there. And then the Japanese yen has been a very strong downward move. So we found a little bit of a level here off this little base before a strong drop into that region. Copper, we had a little bit of a breakdown in copper off that little line, and then it just didn't do a whole lot. And that's only if you're more aggressive for some sort of a setup. For now, we've got a little level down here where we could see a bit of a reversal if pricing gets to that one. And then nat gas. We're in a potential area for nat gas for a reversal right now. If we come down from here, that would be a decent setup. The problem with the nat gas level is that we based in front of the level. So right now you're looking at basically a 1-to-1 reward to risk. So I don't love this area. And if you already are in this short, just keep your stops fairly tight. Move your stop to break even, I would say, once we move down into about this region here. So for those of you that are looking for more information, visit us at tradersarmy.com. Until tomorrow, I hope everybody has an absolutely amazing trading day, and I will see you soon. Bye.